So they asked me to give a presentation today on understanding Skywarn, especially as it relates to ham radio. So my name is Steve, K1SJW. I'm the DEC for Skywarn in Connecticut. They were talking earlier about how Mars and the federal government utilizes things on a county basis. Well, that's the same thing with Skywarn. The National Weather Service operates on a county basis, not on a region basis like DEMIS, which is our Department of Emergency Management here in the state operates. So there's 8 counties in Connecticut, and we have 6 county coordinators, ham radio operators that act as county coordinators for our Skywarn program here. So obviously the first thing is, if you're not familiar with the program, is what is Skywarn? And Skywarn is a volunteer program of the National Weather Service. What the program does is it trains individuals, and any adult can go through the training. It's basically about a 3-hour course. And it trains you to become spotters for the National Weather Service. And what you do in the role of a spotter is you provide the National Weather Service with what's called ground truth information of severe weather conditions that are occurring whatever your location is. Could be home, could be at work, could be you're driving in your car. That's the basic program. So the key thing that they talk about is ground truth information. What is that? Well, basically it's weather conditions that are occurring at ground level that meet a specific criteria that the National Weather Service defines for severe weather conditions. It can be things such as wind damage, winds in excess of 58 miles an hour, excessive rainfall. They may ask for, or say that if you have rainfall of 1.5 inches in a 1-hour period of time, that's what they consider excessive rainfall towards flooding conditions. Flooding itself, tornadoes, large hail, anything greater than 1 inch in diameter. And of course, in the wintertime, we're dealing with heavy snow and icing conditions. So, how do we assist? How does this ground truth information assist the National Weather Service? Well, it's a verification of what the Weather Service forecasters are seeing when they're looking at radar. It's a verification of the radar signatures that they're getting. It's going to assist them in making decisions. Decisions regarding whether they should issue a warning for the next county over, or even the county you're in at that point in time, whether they should upgrade. For example, they might issue a severe thunderstorm warning, and then a spotter calls in a report of a funnel cloud. Now they're going to upgrade to a tornado warning. And the same thing with a cancellation. If the effects are below severe limits, they may decide to actually cancel a warning that they've issued. And again, this is all helpful to adjoining counties that are in the path of the storm as it moves along. So the next logical thing is, if you're not a trained spotter already, how do you become a spotter? Well, for first-time certification, the National Weather Service asks that you go to a live training class. After that, when you go to recertify, you can do it one of 2 ways. You can go to a live class, if that's what you want to do, or you can take it over the internet. There's a website. The website is actually up on the National Weather Service office pages, and it's a link that sends you to this internet-based training that you can take for recertification of your spotter training. Now, basic spotter training, which is the first level, is held generally in the spring, between April and June. And those classes are open, obviously, for anybody to take. And the thing about why they want you to take it live session, if it's your first time, you've never been trained as a spotter, is because what they're going to do is at the end of the training, they're gonna give you a form to fill out, and that's gonna provide them with your call sign, with your contact information, and they're going to issue you a spotter number, and they're also gonna provide you with a private 800 number, which is a direct line to the forecasters in the office. So that, you know, it's nice that we can go on the nets and call in reports to a net control for Skywarn. But what happens if you don't have a radio with you and you're someplace where you need to make a report to the weather service? Well, by using this private 800 number, you talk directly to them in the office. But they don't just give that, and again, I stress, it's a private number. It's not open to the public. They don't want the public to have that number. So by having you come to a live course, that's how they're able to get you into their system, because they will put you into their computers, and you get that 800 number that you can then use to contact them. So again, the only other thing is that certification is good for 3 years, and you need to recertify. And as I mentioned, you can either do it in a live training session, or you can take an online class. One of the other things you probably want to consider is, by taking a live session, the online classes are good, but they're a real general type of thing, because they're made to be given all across the country. Whereas at the live sessions, forecasters are going to give you some specific information which is important to our area. Because New England weather is different from the weather out in the plains, out in Tornado Alley, okay? And that's why, another reason why they want to get you into a live class, so that this certain information that's specific to our area, you're made aware of and helps you with your spot. Now, no special weather equipment is needed to become a spotter. Your eyes and ears are your best for reporting conditions. But there are things, if you go on the website and look under Skywarn, under the local offices, they do talk about measured rainfall, they do talk about measured snowfall, they do talk about measured ice accretion in the wintertime. So it is helpful if you learn how to take rainfall measurements, get yourself a rain gauge. They also will show you how to build what's called a snowboard, and how to take snowfall measurements, and of course, accretion of ice on different objects when there's an ice storm. There's optional weather equipment out there. A lot of spotters, I'm going to ask, how many in the room as spotters have personal weather stations? There you go. We're all weather enthusiasts, and many of us have complete weather stations at our homes. And that becomes important to the Weather Service, because if you're sending your information out either through APRS or CWOP, which is the Citizen Weather Observer Program, or just over the internet. I have a station that reports out through Weather Underground. That information can be picked up by the Weather Service, especially the ones that are on APRS and CWOP. And also another thing that a lot of spotters do is participate in what's called COCO-ROS, which is the program for submitting measured rainfall and snowfall, and that's an interesting program. If you're a weather enthusiast and you're not familiar with it, it's something that I would suggest you take a look at, something you may want to do. So Skywarn, when is it activated? Well, in the summer months, Skywarn is activated when the Storm Prediction Center out in Norman, Oklahoma issues a severe thunderstorm or tornado watch for our area. Generally, those watches last for about 6 hours. That's basically the time period that they're valid for. If they have to be reissued for an extended period of time, they'll do so. And then, of course, any severe weather that occurs during that period of time, the local office will issue either a severe thunderstorm or a tornado warning. And so during the summer, spotters are expected that once Skywarn is activated, that you remain vigilant and activated until all the watches and warnings have expired for the area, your area where you are. In the winter months, it's different. It's issued for winter storm warnings, blizzard warnings, ice storm warnings, and so on. But wintertime storms are pretty long-lived compared to severe weather in the summertime. So you could have a winter storm that's the warning's been issued, and it could be 12 or 24 hours of time that storm is affecting our region. So we don't want to burn out the spotters. We don't want you up for 24 hours straight with regard to a winter storm. So what a lot of the county coordinators will do is they will call up a Skywarn net every couple of hours. They'll call it up to take measured snowfall or any other reports that a spotter wants to turn in at that time. And they'll do that throughout the storm. And then at the end, when the storm is over, they will call up a net where they can get final snowfall totals and get those to the National Weather Service. And it's very important for the Weather Service to get that information. And again, when we're talking about ground truth information, if their computers are saying that we're going to say half a foot of snow, and they issue a warning for that, I mean, obviously, our ground truth measured snowfall is going to confirm whether their prediction of up to a foot of snow is valid or not for the area that they forecast. So other Skywarn activations. Skywarn ends up being activated for flood and flash flood warnings. In the springtime, quite often, we'll get issues where there's flooding conditions, and they'll issue a flood warning, and they'll activate us and ask us to report any flooding that we observe in our areas. Obviously, hurricane and tropical storm warnings were activated for that, and on occasion we're activated for what's referred to as high wind warnings. The picture I've got there, flood-wise, is I live up in Winston, up in the northwestern part of the state. That's all pictures I took off the internet of the 55 flood that really tore up the town of Winston, as you can see. But one other thing too is that during the wintertime, spotters that live in areas where you have a river that has the potential of developing ice jams, you may be called upon to either check to see if there's an area that has an ice jam has occurred at, and you may also be asked to observe at the period of time when a breakup of an ice jam occurs. Because what happens with ice jams is obviously the river water backs up behind the jam, and then when that jam breaks up, which is basically it's about at a temperature of around 40 degrees, well, all that water that's been backed up is coming down, and it's going to cause a flooding condition below where the jam occurred. So that's something that the Weather Service is interested in. I'm not sure about some of the other rivers in the state. Up in my area in Litchfield County, there is the Housatonic River, and that is prone to jamming in various locations in the lower end in Kent and down towards New Milford. So that's something that spotters in the Litchfield County area will get involved in. All right, so you've gone through the training. You know that we get activated. Well, how are you going to learn about the activation? Well, there's different ways. There's the National Weather Service Hazardous Weather Outlook. I suggest anybody that is not familiar with it to go to one of the Weather Office websites, take a look at it. It's issued daily by the office. It could be issued more than once a day by the office. And the Hazardous Weather Outlook basically provides you with potential hazardous weather conditions for a 24-hour period, and also information on potential hazardous weather that may occur in the next 5 to 7 days. Another way is obviously by having a NOAA All Hazards Weather Radio, because once a watch or warning is issued, especially with watches. I don't believe that they put the alarm tone out, but definitely with the warnings, the alarm tone goes out and you're immediately aware that there's a severe weather warning being issued. Other ways you can do it is by email or by text message on your phone. And of course, for us, by Skywarn Net Activation, County Coordinator or Net Control Station, we'll get on the repeater frequency that's used by Skywarn in your county and make an announcement with regard to whether a watch or a warning has been issued and the fact that they're standing by to take reports.
Couldn't we use AT&T, Verizon, and some of the other cell companies to send warnings out like they do? I get the warning alerts for, you know, stolen vehicle, you know, child abandonment, things like that. Why couldn't we do that for like weather alerts? You'd have to sign up for that?
Yeah, you do
The
have
individual?
to, you do have to sign up for that, and they do have it set out that way, but you gotta, you know, sign up for it. Actually, what do you got here?
Yeah, so there's also Amber Alerts.
Yeah. Now the
So
Amber Alerts and stuff like that, that's on the state level. Okay, that's with the state emergency management or law enforcement agency.
So that's the FEMA application.
But there's a FEMA app that you can put in information, and actually the Weather Service offices have set up that you can get text alerts through them. So that's how I get all of mine. I get them actually right from the office, but also with the cell phone companies now, it is set up that when a weather alert is issued and your phone is going to know that you're in that area, it automatically should be coming across on your phone.
So the cell phone company providers are doing that automatically now?
By federal law. Yep. They're supposed to be issuing
Alerts. Based upon your GPS location of your cell phone?
correct.
Okay,
Right.
good.
If it, you know, they do it by the county.
And that doesn't work, because I have it in my phone. I was on my way to Dayton Hamvention. I got in the middle of Ohio and my phone alerted. It says, got a tornado warning in,
Pennsylvania.
no, it was right there. And the guy that was driving says, well, where's the tornado gonna hit? And I said, probably about a mile ahead of us.
So you drove right into it?
No, we didn't hit, but we could see the weather was turning terrible within 5 minutes.
Wow.
Now, again, the other thing too, as I mentioned, you know, other ways you can get it is through the National Weather Service web pages, the office web pages, and also the Storm Prediction Center web page. If you go to that, you can be notified of when a watch is being issued. All right, so now we're trained, we've got an alert, we've been activated. How do we report what we observe? Well, as I mentioned early on, we have the private 800 number that's been issued during your live training event. There's also the ability to issue through the internet and through smartform. There's reporting forms and email addresses. Each of the offices, and I'm not sure where everybody is, we'll get into the different counties and we'll get into what office covers what county, but each of the offices on their webpage has a Skywarn spotter link. You click on that link, it goes to the spotters for that office, their counties. And one of the things they have is a spotter report. And you can click on that spotter report form and make a report that way. I don't recommend making spotter reports by text during, you know, you get a tornado warning. I'm not going to text a message that, hey, I've seen a tornado on the ground in Hartford. I'm going to either call that 800 number or, you know, obviously I'm going to get onto a Skywarn net and report it to them. The text messages are good for the wintertime things, you know, your measured snowfall, ice accretion, things like that. They're also good for, you know, you're observing good flooding going on in your area. You want to report that. That's what I would use text messages or emails for. Otherwise, I would stick with the 800 number or the image rating ones.
There's also on social media, National Weather Service, Albany, I believe, a bunch of the offices have Facebook pages, and you can message them, because that's one thing I do, because I go right to the Facebook app and message them from there, and they get it within minutes.
They're all, most, social media is a big thing nowadays.
You can send them photos too of any.
And that's what I was gonna say too. You have Facebook, and you also have Twitter. All the offices have Facebook and Twitter pages. You can communicate with them that way. The offices also have email addresses where you can actually send photographs, image photos that you've taken to that email address. And again, that's another reason why going through a live training session and filling out the forms they have, quality assurance. They're not going to be skeptical of a report made by a trained spotter that they know, because you've gone to their training, you've put all your information in, how they can contact you after the fact and so on, versus somebody that goes through, and I'm not knocking the internet form or the internet training, but, they're gonna believe a trained spotter that's giving them information over somebody that they don't know who they are, because all they did is say, oh yeah, I passed this internet training class and here it is. And actually with the internet classes, what you have to do in order to maintain your certification with the office is once you complete the class, you still have to send that information to the office so that they're aware that you did recertify through the internet.
Good job.
All right, so we have 3 offices that cover the state of Connecticut. And they are the Weather Service office up in Albany, New York, which covers my county, Litchfield. The office out of Boston, Mass, also referred to as Taunton. And the office in New York City, which is also referred to as Upton, it's over in Long Island. This is the county coverage area for the Albany office. You can see Litchfield County is part of their coverage area. This is Taunton's coverage area, which is Hartford, Holland, and Windham counties in northern Connecticut. They cover those areas. And then this is the coverage area for the Upton office on Long Island. Fairfield, New Haven, Middlesex, and New London counties. So, not sure what county you guys live in, but now that I've gone through it, you probably have good ideas of what office covers the area that you reside in. Now, regarding amateur radio and how amateur radio interfaces with the Skywarn program, there is an MOU that has been drawn up on the national level between the league and the National Weather Service. That MOU specifies that the league, through Aries, will provide the Weather Service with trained amateur radio operators to run Skywarn nets on the amateur radio bands. Back a little bit here. So here are I wanted to put the frequencies for each of the counties and also the county coordinator or Aries EC for each of the counties. So if you're down in Fairfield County, they divide it up north and south. The north part of the county uses the Danbury repeater 147-300. The coordinator is Roger, NG1R. Fairfield County South, we don't have an assistant coordinator in that area right now. And Fairfield County South is kind of a tough area for us as far as one repeater that we could utilize to operate a Skywarn net on. So the arrangement has been made with the Skywarn nets that run out of Westchester County, New York. And that's the frequency for Westchester County Skywarn. So if you're a spotter down in southern Fairfield County and you can hit that repeater down there, you can talk into Westchester, they will take your report. Just tell them you're reporting it from Fairfield County, and they'll pass that information on to the Weather Service office. If you're in Hartford and Tolland County, that's probably the counties that have the largest concentration of spotters in the state. And the Aries Skywarn EC is Roger, K1PAI. He's been the EC for that for many, many years. The repeater they use is one of the PBRA repeaters, it's 14679. Roger is very, very good as a county coordinator. And one of the other things that, and I'll get into in a few minutes, is that the Weather Service offices also have their own amateur radio stations in the office. Each one of them does. The one that tends to be the most active, and that's really, it's based upon where the office is, how many volunteers they can get in to staff their stations, is the Boston office, HON, WX1BOX. And if you check into a net for Hartford, Town County, or even Windham County, most times you're going to hear WX1BOX monitoring and then asking the county coordinator to provide additional information on things they're hearing the spotters call in. So that's really good. I like a lot what WX1BOX does, because I think it draws a lot more people into the Skywarn program from the amateur radio community.
Yeah, I've heard them on there. It's kind of cool because I'm not a trained spotter at all. So when you hear the weather service
Yeah.
too, it's like, wow, okay, so there's really something going on.
Yep.
Albany is WX to ALY.
ALY. Yeah. Up in Litchfield County, where I am, we use the KB1AEB repeater system, which is a linked system of about 10 or 11 repeaters throughout the state. The repeater that generally we go into is 147-240 in Torrington. The Skywarn coordinator up there is also my assistant state coordinator, that's Al, K-A-1-T-C-H. And one of the things we do up in Litchfield County, and they do it in some of the other counties too, and that's we link other repeaters in Litchfield County into this system. So for example, there's a repeater system down in the south end of the county in the New Milford area, which is run by the Northville Amateur Radio Association. Their repeater will link into Dana's system. As living up in Winston, I happen to also be the emergency management director up there. We have a standalone repeater in Winston that we will link into Dana's system for our area. So there's a number of repeaters that all get tied in together when we do Skywarn up in Litchfield County. And one of the things you'll know about, especially about WX1BOX, they'll even come into our system. They want to monitor because what they hear going on, ground truth information from us in Litchfield County, is telling their forecasters, hey, should we be issuing a severe thunderstorm warning? Should we be issuing a tornado warning at this point in time? Because guess what? As soon as it crosses into Hartford County, they're being hit next after us. So they monitor us quite a lot. And as the gentleman here said, we also have the Weather Service office up in Albany does get on and does come in to check reports from us also. Now, New Haven and Middlesex County, this is another one. They tie in two repeaters, 442-500, which I think is down, I want to say Norwalk, and 145-29, which is the Middlesex, wide range Middlesex County repeater. And they will operate Skywarn for both counties from there. The EC for Skywarn over there right now is Ed Rhodes, WA1LEI. If you're in that area, you live either in Middlesex or New Haven County, the former EC, Glenn, N1HAW, passed away last November into December. Suddenly passed away, and over the course of the winter, Ed and another ham got a hold of me and said, hey, we'd like to start up and keep Skywarn going on these repeaters in this area. I said, fine. We got Ed approved through Betsy and Wayne to become EC for this area. And it's kind of slow going right now with them, especially because Ed and the other ham, sometimes they have conflicts with their job, so they're not able to really do training nets on a weekly basis. So if there's anybody that's in that area and wants to help out, I know Ed would probably appreciate it greatly. We're always, actually in all the counties, we're always looking for hams that are willing to do anything from being a net control station, or if you wanted to become an assistant coordinator for the county, and they need it, we can get you approved through, through the league for that, through Aries for that. New London County, that's Christina, KB1 QFW. The repeater they use is in Salem, it's 147060. And again, she actually has a good little group going there. Her husband is an assistant EC, and they have some others that act as net control for them. But that's the county that they operate out of. And then the last county in Connecticut where we have Skywarn is up in Windham County, up in the northeast quiet corner, as we call it. And the EC for up there is Bernie Dub, KB1DGY. They use 147-225 as their repeater for that. And the picture I've got here is Storm Spotting and Amateur Radio, which is published by the league. I believe they have a new updated version of this book that has come out. It's a very good book for anybody that wants to learn more about Skywarn, how to make reports and so on. It's really an excellent reference source as far as I'm concerned. So, if anybody's interested in picking it up, by all means. Besides the repeaters, we also utilize 147.535 simplex as a statewide simplex frequency. If the repeaters all went down for some reason, your county coordinators are going to go over to that frequency and look for reports that way. Now remember, with simplex, you may not be going as far as, and so what you got to remember about simplex is now you get into relays. So if you're trying to call, I don't know what county you're in, but let's say you're in Windham County, and you're trying to call Skywarn Net Control. Maybe he's not hearing you, but another ham nearby who is hearing him is hearing you also. They can act as a relay for you. So that's one of the things I want everybody to kind of think about is when we're using simplex, do a lot of relaying. If you can hear something, take the information, pass it along, get it to the net control so that they can get it to the national weather service. We also use the HF frequencies 3965 lower sideband and 7280 lower sideband. Those frequencies are shared by Aries and as well as Skywarn here.
Is that state only?
Yeah, that's for ours.
There's no
Yeah.
national or regional frequencies?
The other states surrounding us on HF have their own Aries HF frequencies that they use, so.
Okay, so there's,
Yeah, and
there's
what
no coordination between states?
There is, as far as, and I routinely check in to some of the other states' weekly nets when they call them up. So yeah, there is a little bit of coordination between them. And one of the other things is, and we had mentioned it before, all the offices have ham radio stations. And they will also, they know the frequencies for Connecticut Skywarn on HF, for Mass Skywarn, Eastern New York. They will monitor those frequencies and check into them to try and get reports.
Are there ever any scheduled HF nets, or is that here in Connecticut?
The HF nets, yeah, there are scheduled nets on the Aries side. Skywarn doesn't schedule an actual net up on HF, but on the Aries side, they do hold a net. Yeah. Any idea? Well, I thought it was Sunday mornings that they get on 3965.
Sunday mornings,
Yeah. Sometime mid-morning, on 9 or 10 o'clock on Sunday morning, they get on. All right, so. But these are the three office call signs, WX1 BOX at the Taunton office, WX2 ALY at the Albany office, and the Upton office is WX2 OKX. Now there are other nets up on HF that are utilized. These are utilized through the National Weather Service. The National Weather Service takes information, but they're actually private nets that are running. There's the Hurricane Watch Net which is at 14,325 upper sideband on 20 meters. It was just active
Yep.
2 weeks ago for Matthew, okay? The other one that's active is the VoIP Hurricane Net on Echolink and IRLP. In fact, during that, you can now, if you want to get stuff through Echolink, you can now get it on your cell phone with an app. And I had the Echolink app running on my cell phone so I could listen in mode and listen to what was going on down south. There's other ways of getting information regarding sources for Skywarn. As I mentioned, we mentioned before that each of the offices has a web page for Skywarn. They also, some of the actual county Skywarn groups have their own web pages. Hartford Town County has a web page. Wyndham County has a web page. Litchfield County has a web page. And the reason I'm mentioning the web pages is because this is another way for training that you can learn about when spring spotter training classes are going to come up, or fall training classes are coming up. You can go to the web page and see it on there. They also will announce it on the NOAA weather radio broadcasts. And of course, once the coordinators for Skywarn around the state learn of Skywarn training coming up in their county, they'll also make an announcement of it during weekly training that's held. And I don't want to be remiss about mentioning this, Skywarn Recognition Day. This is something that has been organized between the National Weather Service and the League. It's a special event. It comes up every year on the first Saturday of December. Many NWS offices across the nation participate. It's actually done not just on HF, it is done on VHF also. But, for long-range communications with stations around the nation, it's mainly on HF. And you can, if you participate in it, you can either get a certificate for the number of stations that you were in communication with during the 24-hour period of the special event, and you can also get QSL cards from various stations. Every year, the National Weather Service puts up a web page for Skywarn Recognition Day, and on that page, you'll get a list of all the stations around the country that are going to participate in the event. You'll get information on how you go about getting the certificate, and when they tell you about what stations are participating, it'll also tell you what stations have arranged to issue QSL cards to you if you want. That's basically it. So, any questions or comments or anything?
Question on training.
Yep.
How do we get more trainings in the New Haven County area? I've been struggling for the past year and a half trying to get to a class, and they're usually held in Norwalk
Yep.
and Salem, nothing in the middle of our Connecticut territory.
Yep. And I've mentioned it to them.
Problem.
There's two things in regard to how the Weather Service does their training, and unfortunately, everybody in all the southern counties is under this situation where the office in Upton is across the Sound. It's not very easy to get into Connecticut in order to do training.
Oh, no, yeah.
So what happens is they do one of two things. They take a meteorologist, and I think what they did this year is they had one of their meteorologists or two of their meteorologists, they sent over here, they put them up somewhere, I don't know if it was Foxwoods or wherever, probably Foxwoods, and they would have enjoyed that. So, but they put them up, and they had 1 week, and that's how the three classes that were given were all kind of given in the same week period. And then they went back to New Haven, back to Long Island after that.
Is there any rules where you can't go to in Boston?
No.
If they're held in?
No, absolutely not. No,
The
if you want
training's
to,
the same.
right, the training's the same. The only thing that happens is if you go to one of the other offices' training sessions, and we've had some that have come up to the Litchfield classes. There's a lot of people that go to the Hartford Town and County classes. You just got to notify the forecaster at the end of the session when you fill out the form where you're from, okay? Because then what they'll do is they'll send your information onto the Weather Service office that covers your area, so that they're getting your information, forwarded onto them. So, yeah, you're welcome to take training really at any place you're able to take it.
Are there any advanced training courses?
There are
Dude, that's in the fall.
that. Most of the advanced training goes on in the fall.
Right.
For example, right now, coming up, if you go to the Albany office webpage, you'll see that there is advanced spotter training going on through a webinar from that office. So, you're welcome to sign up for it and take it. The only thing is, when you go to sign up, you're going to see that, they're going to ask you where you're from, what county you're in. So you're going to have to make it clear what county you're in if you're outside of Litchfield County, so that they can, again, pass the information on to the office that covers the county you live in. But yes, for the most part, advanced training does come up in the fall. Sometimes, and again, this is another reason why I kind of push a little bit towards having, going to a live session, because sometimes the forecaster will do both the basic and some of the advanced during that session. So, or they'll do both summer and winter storm information during that session. So they kind of tie it all into one. Any other questions? Okay.
Thanks, Steve.
You're welcome.